raise a number of things. One, that sometimes what we see as political issues are really issues around trauma and harm and hurt, and a need to reach out into the community and really begin to hear the lament, but to begin to express love and care. You also raise an issue around a mainline denomination, the United Methodist Church, speaking into that, even as others are speaking into these situations in different ways, and our responsibility to speak into it with love. And you kind of alluded to this, but when you think about our priorities, what must guide what we stop doing, what we start doing, and what we continue doing in the United Methodist Church, let's say in the next year? What must guide, first, what we stop doing, what we start doing, and what we continue to do?
That's a hard question for me, because when I think about what we stop doing, I think, so Florida is a unique conference, and we have massive city churches, and then we have our tiny rural churches. So the one thing I always think about is, if we stop something, will that cause harm to that one person in a rural church? Or if we stop something, will that, cause issues in our city churches? But the first thing that I think of is, when we stop something, are we really engaging with our community? Is this something that is benefiting, empowering our local communities, empowering our local United Methodist churches or ministries? So I think to stop something is anything that is causing, that's unhealthy or causing harm. So one of my roles in my position is to help our local churches think about the harm that they're causing in other countries or in their communities with missions. Are you going into an area, are you in your community and causing people to become dependent upon you? Or are you teaching, them that we can do everything? So I think we need to stop anything that causes harm or anything that causes us to look at a situation that's not healthy. I do think there's a lot of things we could stop in the United Methodist Church, but I also think that there's a lot of really good things that we have going on. I look at our boards and agencies, and some of the work that's happening by them is literally life-saving and continuing to change entire communities. So do we stop things like that? Absolutely not. Do we stop things like, UMCOR, which is literally, after Florida hurricanes, they're literally saving people's lives. Do we stop that stuff? Absolutely not. Do we stop certain things that are spending way too much money? Maybe we look at that and start adjusting how we, our priorities and stuff. We're an entire global United Methodist Church. So that question is hard. I also think that there are a lot of things that we could start that are not U.S. driven or U.S. focused. I think that our siblings all around the world in the United Methodist Church have incredible ideas, have started things on their own without all of the money, without all the, the politics involved, that have been so healthy and successful. So I think it's really important that we look at things that they've started that work in their community, and maybe we, highlight those and not highlight the same things that we always have been highlighting.
So really looking at recognizing that we're a global church and recognizing the vibrant ministries that are happening all over the church. Let me ask you something about another statement that was written in the Out of Chaos Creation document, where you call on the UMC to, and I'm going to quote, to commit to decolonizing our missional relationships, both locally and globally, altering power dynamics to honor the voices, aspirations, and leaderships of those often seen as recipients of our mission. What does that statement mean to you, especially in your role as missional trainer and volunteer coordinator for the Florida Annual Conference? Yeah,
so this is one of my my favorite topics to talk about. So I'll go back to a personal thing. When I was in 6th grade, I had seen a video from UMCOR on Sudan. And since 6th grade, I said, I'm going to Africa. I'm going. So I'm graduating high school, and I said, I'm going. I have no idea which country, but I'm going. So I went and lived in Kenya. And when I went, I had been my entire life taught, they obviously don't know anything. You can go and change them all and educate them and teach them everything. Well, I was quickly shocked that I knew nothing, and they knew everything. And I was just, this is not what I've been taught my entire life. I'm here to save them. That was my first experience with, I was like, wait, this is really bad theology, things like that. So when I was 18, I just said, this is a time for me just to learn. I was with a bunch of local organizations, all run by local Kenyan women. And so I quickly shifted my mind and said, let me just learn from these women. But with that, I started to realize so many of our local United Methodist churches all have that mentality that when they go to serve globally, that they're the saviors, the white saviors. With my role, one of my things is to really think about and help educate people that, if for us to go into a country and say that we can, change everything, we know everything, is the most unhealthy thing in anything in missions. I work with an organization with my role called Zoe Empowers, and they are in seven African countries, and then also in India. So in each country, it is fully run by locals that are coming from those villages, coming from those cities. It is one of the most successful nonprofits that I've ever seen because it's actually being run by locals. It's not a white person like me going into an area and saying, I can fix everything. I can save you all. The knowledge that they have is so much richer and deeper than the knowledge I have. So I get to go to Kenya quite a lot to visit the program. And with Zoe, though, you're partnering with a group of orphaned or vulnerable children. Within 3 years, they're completely self-sufficient. But it's not me going in and helping them build houses. It's not me going in and doing a medical camp with them or teaching them how to make soap. It's me going and listening and learning from them. It's purely me not doing anything. I'm not allowed to bring anything. I am listening to them. And I have learned the power of listening goes so much further than the power of me picking up a tool and hammering. They build their own houses and they love that because that's empowering to them. That's giving them the dignity that they did not have. They are, starting their own businesses. And then they get to the pride of being able to show me their businesses is something that I've never, it's just such a beautiful moment. So we have so much to learn in missions, so much to learn. And I think the shift is really starting to happen. But wow, we have caused a lot of harm, even in our own communities, in the United States or in Europe. We've caused a lot of harm. So that statement is so true. And I don't think that we should underestimate how important that statement is. And I really hope we really start to look at that, and that needs to be I think a priority in the United Methodist Church, because there's, especially from people in the United States, a lot of harm has been done because of thinking that that we can just go and fix and do everything. And
Yeah, and you're talking about the mutuality of mission. You're talking about relationship as the foundation of mission, moving away from this sort of colonial, paternalistic, I know better and I am going to, kind of fix you. And that applies in mission wherever you are, including in your local community. It's about being with people, right? And it changes us when we learn to engage in mission that way. We're also being missioned. We're also being evangelized. We're also being spiritually formed.
I'll say one more thing. So in the Out of Chaos statement, we talk about, like I said earlier, the table. There is something so special when you sit down with orphaned or vulnerable children at a table and you eat with them. And it's not the food you provided, it's the food that they grew and provided for you. That's one of the most beautiful moments that you could have, where you sit down with someone and they have a meal with you. You know, someone that was outcast in their village, someone that, you know, was not welcomed. Like, that's what the United Methodist Church needs to do more. Like, let's sit down, let's share a meal together, let's listen to each other, and let's maybe we can get past all the stuff that we're currently in, you know? So the view of the table is such a beautiful thing. And I hope that one day, you know, after the pandemic, we can actually really sit at the table together, share a meal, and learn from each other.